Hi, this is Simon at English Coach, and today I'm going to be talking to you about purpose, long term thinking, and building a grander scheme for the future, or what I like to call the long plan. Now, there's many reasons for doing this, which we're going to go into shortly, but I want you to really make a comparison now between where you were perhaps 5 years ago or perhaps 10 years ago and where you are now. What kind of things did you want back then? What kind of person were you? What did you search for in your life? And what do you have now? And who are you now? It is that question of have versus be. What do you have versus who are you? What or who did you have to become to get what you have today? And this is all connected to the idea of the long plan. So imagining for yourself that there are a lot of possibilities out there. It doesn't have to be exactly one outcome or one result, but choosing one general area to improve yourself and work toward is incredible. So, guarantee a long plan. First question is, why should we do that? Why can't we just live for tomorrow or live for today? Why do we need to live for the future? Why do we need to think about how we will be or how we will be in 10 or 15 years? Well, the first reason for that is it keeps you from giving up when obstacles stop you from getting what you want in the short term. So if you have a goal that you're going after now, and this goal has a perhaps has a deadline 3 months ahead, or this goal is going to take you 3 or 4 months to achieve, and you have no that goal doesn't connect to any greater scheme or long plan, then it holds less significance and it's much easier to give up on. However, when that goal is part of or shares commonalities with a long plan or a greater scheme, then you can see the obstacles as more temporary and less relevant. So you will probably find a way around them instead of packing your bags and giving up on that on the spot. The next great reason why you should create, develop, and elaborate on a long plan is it helps you to form a greater philosophy about life. And when I say that, I do mean a personal one. I mean one that comes from your experiences, that comes from the way you see life. Being careful to audit yourself on the traumas and the baggage and the conditioning that you've had in your own life, that you really want to turn around and look at in detail and say these things have affected the way I look at my life, either in a negative or a positive way, out of proportion with reality. Okay, but having a philosophy in life is great, and not something fixed, something that you can kind of build on like Lego. Okay, the last reason why you should have a long plan, and very valid reason here, is it attracts the right attitudes and beliefs from you and the right feelings in you, so that you can just be more resilient or adaptable for success in the present. You know, sometimes we don't have great obstacles. Sometimes it's just a matter of waking up on the wrong side of the bed and making a decision based on that. Well, if you have the right thoughts, attitudes, and beliefs, generally, one bad day will not put you off, or one bad week will not stop you from continuing your noble way forward. And that is the goal. The goal is to continue forward and develop many skills as you reach each new goal toward one long plan that connects into itself. So it's many goals connected into itself, so that you can see your trajectory. You can look back on your trajectory, and you can have your own story, uh, which demonstrates how you got from point A years ago to point B where you are now, or how you will get from point A where you are now to point B where you want to be in 10 or 15 years. You probably think, okay, so what are some good examples of long plans? Yeah, many examples. Two great examples I share with you. One of the main ones is starting your own business, and starting it small and being humble and not having high expectations, putting in a lot of work, putting in a lot of research and homework, and understanding how the bureaucracy of it all works. Being patient with official documents and bureaucracy that take a long time to um, be processed, and taxes, and trying to understand all of those things. And then also offering what you need to offer to your customer, your potential customer, be it product or service, and taking on bigger and bigger goals every year until you can see yourself growing and growing and growing. Always putting yourself outside of your comfort zone and testing your limits every month or so on how intensely you'll work or how long you will work. Always remembering that there's two parts to that. One part is that you continue to be able to perform at a high level, which means you do need to give yourself enough rest and relaxation and exercise. And the other part is when you are allowed to let yourself, or when you should test yourself to see if you're going to burn out or not. People will say, oh, that's a terrible idea. But if you're not doing it every month, if you're only doing it once or twice a year, and you're testing yourself authentically to see how much you can handle, as well as you're offering something to other people, it's sometimes worth it. You just need to beware that if you are testing yourself uh, with some kind of situation where there's a lot on the line, it's not worth it. You test yourself with certain deals or certain areas in your business where, if you can't hack the strain, you're not going to lose anything big. So you can learn about yourself, you can learn about how many hours you can possibly work without burning out, etc. Next part is, for example, as a business owner, either franchising what you're doing, or employing people, and employing at first employees, and then employing a manager or supervisor to look after those guys, and then building your business from there. Or, like I said before, creating and distributing your ideas through a franchise, replicating it. These are really challenging, really challenging. These are good examples. Uh, Let me give you some more specific examples, perhaps, for this long plan thinking. If you are already involved in sports and health, that you take on your own business from there, and you become some kind of physical training authority or guru, someone people go to for this kind of coaching, and you take on two or three people in the industry that you know, and they start working for you, and you start creating your own business from there. You start creating specific content, and you become quite important in that arena of business. And you get the following that you want on social media, but you also get the results that you want by changing people's lives. The second thing is, for example, people are really getting into investing these days, especially here where I am in Brazil. And so this concept of being a master investor or master trader, which I think a lot of people can actually do, a lot of people can actually become this if they do it the right way, if they figure out what kind of investor or trader they're supposed to be in terms of um, investing a little bit and being very, very safe and just learning over the long term. And in the beginning, having very, very little results, but in the end, coming out with more than these guys that are day trading and making between 500 and 2,000 a week doing this. You see, so I think um, there needs to be an understanding, and that connects back to this idea of the long plan of where do I want to be in 10 or 15 years. Can I slowly go through this, and how much homework do I need to do, things like that. Real estate mogul is another one. I always love this idea of buying your first property, house or apartment, and then getting some kind of income from this. Generally by renting it, of course, renting it as a place for people to use for events or weddings or whatever, if it's just like a piece of land, or renting it directly for people, tenants in this case, to live in as a house or an apartment, and then building on that. So after you've got your first one, then you are reinvesting part of the money that you're getting, or after you've paid it off, you're reinvesting part of that money to get your next one. And then you've got three, you've got four, you've got five, and then suddenly after 15 years you've got six houses, and after those 15 years um, you've got a salary from that, which allows you to have the freedom to decide whether or not you need to continue doing your other job, because this is not a full-time job. It can be a nightmare, it should be a nightmare, but for some people it's a nightmare that they love. It's a delicious nightmare. So um, again, you need to know what your long plan is. Are you a person that can deal with that? uh, it could be something as left field as being a forest planter, a planter, like a person who reforests one area and is given money directly from the mayor or public funds to do this, but also you're an enthusiast, you're a bit of an engineer in this kind of way, and so you get your name out there, and you become this influential figure that reforests areas that either were burnt out or used in the past for some kind of farming or industry, and you've just gone back and taken a note of the greatest native species that can be planted and reforest. Um, it's basically about having ownership over your field. Okay, so guarantee a long plan. I've given you the reasons why. Just to summarize everything. To clear obstacles from the road ahead of you, we're talking weeks and months, because the long plan helps you to understand why and how small those things are and why you need to clear them out. Secondly, to form that life philosophy. Thirdly, to give you the right attitudes and beliefs so that you can really believe in yourself, or build your self-esteem up high enough so that you can have success at at doing the things that you're doing now with a little bit more excitement. Like I said, there's a lot of areas that you can be operating in to start your long-term plan or your long plan. And my last comment is, be afraid to do it, but take action. People say, oh, don't be afraid, just take your first step or whatever. Yes, take your first step, but it's okay to be afraid, because the fear is actually a good friend. Now, on other videos, I've commented on this about the fear being a friend concept, but it is really important that you understand that beginning this kind of road to having a long plan can be scary because you're saying, well, these are the things I like, these are the things I make money from. Oh, why can't I become this in the future? Well, in short, you can and you should, and be afraid because sometimes what we wish for, we actually get. So go into it with that mentality. Okay. Thanks a lot and see you next time on my channel, English Coach.